There he is. What's happening, my friend?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, how's it going on setting schedules and times when I've had that happen so many dang times. It's not even funny.
I know it's happened to me a few times. I think I scheduled a couple things when I was in Tennessee, and it schedules it in the time zone that you're in at the time and not your normal. So I'm like sitting here waiting at 1 o'clock Pacific, which is where I live, and I'm like, where? It is not like Matt to be late. I'm like, what's
It's,
happening here?
it's
And
so
of course,
funny. No, it's
yeah.
perfect. It was perfect, man. I didn't even like I had my phone down because we had our men on for a couple. We had Remy Adeleke was with us on the men's side, and so we're going through all this stuff, and I look down and I see a bunch of text. I mean, that's normal. So it was 2 hours, so I see like 30 something text messages that have come through, and that's a normal deal. But for some reason, I just kind of tapped it to see, and I saw like seven from you, and I'm like, that's not normal though. Like she doesn't do that. So what's the deal on this? So it's so funny, man. And I've done that so often. So you're in Tennessee and you're scheduling something that is being scheduled on like an East Coast time, but then you're gonna go back and you live, on the West Coast. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it's like the perfect storm of a hot mess.
yes.
So funny, but that's all right. How are you? How are you as a person?
I'm doing good. I will warn all of the ladies listening today. I'm sure I'm not the only one. If you guys have little kids, I have this cough that like will not go away that just keeps cycling through our family. So I
Totally.
have a little cough drop that does not mix well with my coffee, but
That's
um
awesome. You
that's
just
normal
bring
this time of year, I think.
we get it, and everybody, you got a bunch of amazing moms here too, so if you got little heroes that come running in, and you got, man, this is just how we roll. We know exactly how it goes. So, and we got Coach Witt that's hanging out, that's spotlit too, but we'll get to chat for a little bit, and then these amazing ladies will come in, and they'll have a little Q&A too, and that's how we do things, man, and we're really
Great.
excited. It's a whole lot of fun. It was great to get to see you and actually get to meet, and we talked so many times. It's always funny when you do that, like when you have an established relationship with somebody that everything's been virtual, and then
Yes.
when you finally get to see each other in person too, it wasn't even like, it was just like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, wait a second, this is actually the first time I've
Yeah.
actually gotten to like give you a hug and hug
Yeah.
your husband, and like it was the
Yeah.
first time ever. But it was great to get to see you. Thank you guys for coming out to Utah. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was awesome.
It was fun, man. It was fun to see everybody over at Glover Space. We want to just take the time and dive into you. I know we've done the show before, but we did it kind of in that format of, kind of the advice to the young people and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But right now we've got a bunch of, amazing moms and their wives and their entrepreneurs and all the things that you are doing and living right
Mm.
now. So I want to, give a little insight into your journey and how you're doing with all of those things. And we'll just kind of see where it goes, man. But we just want to talk about you and talk to you. So let's start with who you say you are. And here's why this is a different question. It's easy. You Google Miranda Alcaraz. It's not hard to find you, right? It's not hard to
Yeah.
find you. It's not hard to find the amazing things. It's easy to find a bio. It's easy to see all the things you've started and we'll talk about all those things. But it's different when I say, who does Miranda say she is? Let's start with that.
Oh man, that's such like a loaded.
I know it is.
That's such
But
a
I love you,
question.
and that's where I figured we'd go.
But I also love having you know, people that probably have no idea. So I get to start with a blank
Yes, ma'am.
slate as opposed to a lot of podcasts and stuff. Well, I actually had a talk with our pastor recently who asked me the same question. And he said, make sure you list the priorities in the proper order. So I guess I want to make sure and do that. Um, First, I would say I'm a daughter,
Mm.
right? And then second would be that I'm a mom. I have three little boys. Knox is 6. Banner will be 4 in May, and Crew will be 2 on Friday.
Wow.
And so they're just rambunctious and crazy, and I am their mom, and I am one of their major sources of influence, which I have to remember,
Mhm.
which is a huge responsibility that cannot be taken lightly. And then I am a wife. My husband Julian and I own a business together. We own an online fitness subscription business called Street Parking. Both of us come from a CrossFit competitive background, but also I worked for CrossFit for 8 years on their seminar team and traveled the world doing their seminars. And so we started a business for people who enjoy that type of training, but don't have access to, can't afford, just don't enjoy a group atmosphere for whatever reason. They can't go to a good gym or don't want to. And so we started the program for people who want to work out at home, or maybe they travel a lot. And it was meant to be a hobby when I was still working for CrossFit, and I worked for a supplement company at the time too. And it just took off. That was in 2016. So that's what we do now. I homeschool our boys, which they're so young that it's like there's not a lot to it yet.
Yeah.
Mostly just the 6-year-old is the only one that anything is really structured at all for. But I lean on Matt heavily for what am I doing with that stuff. We have a little group that we do it with. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now in the journey. But like if you were to like write a, you know, just descriptors of me, I am a mother who always feels like she's failing, and a passionate entrepreneur who wants to do way too much because I'm just so in love with what we do. And I'm trying to learn how to balance all those things while loving myself and loving my family and enjoying the present moment, which can be difficult.
Man, oh man, I think you're speaking our language here. And I will vouch for that. It's so like for you personally, and I'm not saying the way too much part, but I'm saying this, like that's our conversation. Is a lot of times it's just reminding you, hey, you're a rock star. Like you are doing so much, and you're doing it really well. The videos you send when you guys working out, the 3 girls, and I mean, come on, it's amazing. You guys are leading so dang well over there. You know, I mean, you really are. And I remember the last message, which I ended up having to resend, because I remember I was telling you, I was walking through Walmart.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. I was walking through Walmart, and I'm going like aisle to aisle, like looking for something. I'm trying to get out of people's way. And I'm leaving you this voice message, and I'm like, Mama, you're doing everything right. Like the way you were looking at this, like that's absolutely like, it was just like, hey, just a reminder for you. You're rocking it. But we all fall into that.
Oh, of course.
Right. Like we all fall into that. And did we meet through Savon? Was he the one that introduced us?
I think so. I think he's the one that introduced us. And then I was on your podcast for the young adults.
Yep, absolutely. And then, and we'll just continue to talk since then. And Savon's still a dear friend, and Jason and I were talking earlier. Kalipa's just an amazing human. So just so many good people still in that space, man. So what are you creating right now? Because even that alone, that bio alone is fantastic. Street parking, you guys have been just crushing it, knocking it out of the park. But you're also raising these young heroes. You're also serving in the community, right? So like, what does actually the day-to-day look like for you? And what are you creating right now?
Our day-to-day has changed a lot in the last 6 months. I was CEO. I was working nonstop, 7 days a week, running our business while through all 3 pregnancies, because we started street parking 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant with my first. And so pretty much the entire time I've been pregnant or breastfeeding or trying to get pregnant. And so just this last 6 months, it had really been pulling on my heart that I want to be the sole influence, or not the sole influence, but the main influence in my children's lives. And we are very blessed with a lot of help. Like my husband's mother was their full-time nanny, and she loves them dearly, but she's not going to raise them exactly the way that I would want to. We had already chosen to homeschool them, and so we were trying to do some of that stuff. But I just felt this pull. Our business is successful. We have a great staff here now that can run the day-to-day. I personally had to step away and say, why do I feel like I have to be doing all this day-to-day stuff? And the truth and the real reason that I've had to come to grips with is because I like it. I'm good at it. because I like feeling like I control it all. Like I'm a
Mhm.
little bit of a like control freak, but
Mhm.
I don't need to be doing that. And I have a financial opportunity and an opportunity with our business can run without me being so involved in all the minutia that I can go be with my children.
Mhm.
So I've made that choice, and I'm still doing a lot with our business, like the main programming, which is the thing that I'm most passionate about, the messaging, some of that stuff. But I've
Mhm.
stepped away and I'm with our kids a lot more now. And it has been a huge challenge for me because the way that I've described it to friends or my husband is I stepped away from something that I've basically worked my whole life to be good at, and which fills my self-esteem and I feel like a rock star when I'm doing it, into something where I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing and they're just complaining and like, what am I like? This is just a waste of time. They don't listen to me. And so it's been really, that's where I'm at right now, this life stage that I'm in. And my day to day, honestly, the reason why I'm answering this way is because it's all over the place. It's
Yeah.
like, I try to like set a structure, but then it's like, oh, this one meeting needs me, so I'll go in for that. Or this kid is sick, so I'm going to miss it after all. So it's just been pretty chaotic, honestly, right now.
How do you make yourself feel okay with that from a mental standpoint when you start? Because that is such a vastly different deal, right? You can control this, you know you're good at it. There's almost this blueprint that's in your mind of here's how to do it, here's how to do it well. And then you transit. And for those, I mean, anybody, even if you're just going to work, you come home, you might feel like I'm rocking, like I've got control there. And you come home and the household feels however the household feels, right? Like, what do you do to try to keep yourself focused, grounded, feeling okay, not going over the ledge, besides sending, voice messages of whatever. But
Besides
like,
sending,
what do
help
you
Matt
do? Like,
messages.
who's your network? Who are you? Like, how do you
Okay.
lean on that? Like, what do you do to just kind of quiet and calm the voices?
You know, um, something that you say a lot is two things. One, what is actually necessary,
Hmm.
both in what I'm doing at home
Hmm.
or at work? And then what am I good at and how can I double down on those areas? So especially when it comes to the office, the truth is I am not the best manager of people, and that I was doing that job, but
Hmm.
that's not where I excelled. We started street parking and it grew to what it is because I'm very passionate about the product and the message.
Hmm.
But when we started hiring people, I'm not a super organized, like scheduler, obviously, scheduler person. I'm not really the best at like managing people and like, okay, this person's doing this and I have this like spreadsheet and I know everything that's going on and when it's supposed to be done by and all of that. That's not really my strong suit.
Yeah.
My strong suit is the messaging of what we do and the programming of the workouts. And so when I sit down with my husband or with like our leadership team here, it's like, hey, we don't need you doing all that stuff. Just do what you're really good at. And what drives the brand is this message and the workouts themselves and your presence in all of that. But you don't need, and so it's like, let go of that stuff. And then at home, it's the same thing. Like I'm still, and I've been talking to Matt and I've known that I wanted to homeschool my kids since before our first was even born. This wasn't like a pandemic decision or anything like that. But still like what's actually necessary. And I can even now still fall into the trap of like, well, they should be doing
Hmm.
this much time every single day,
Hmm.
or I should have some sort of like curriculum for this and that and the other thing. And it's like, I letting go of the should and
Hmm.
what do my children actually need to know and what are some creative ways that I can do it, and remembering that some days we're going to get a lot done and some days they're going to do what they did this morning, which was pretend to be Spider-Man and try to stick to the wall, and that's just as important for their development right
Right.
now than learning math or whatever, and just going with a more of a flow, which is very, very difficult for me.
Yeah.
And I would be lying to you if me saying, yeah, I just go with the flow. And I do it. It's very difficult, which is why Matt gets these long voice messages
It's
from sometimes.
it's the
Like, I
best.
don't know what I'm doing. But
I
ideally,
think
that's the goal. I have to always bring myself back to remember.
Yeah.
I think our little humans will teach us often that they will not be managed when they don't want to be managed. And I love the fact that you turned around what your strong points are when you're in work mode. You know, it's the messaging. And that's what our kids need is the messaging. And what are we good at? Because that's what they want. Mom's really good at doing this particular thing. They don't want to be managed sometimes, or maybe never.
Yes, ever.
Yeah. Do you and Julian have conversations around like taking on different, and when I say roles, I don't mean gender roles, you got mom and you got dad. I just mean like roles in the house too, where it's like, okay, I'm really going to be the one that our kids can go to for this, or you know, do you guys have those discussions? And do you feel like you guys do a good job of, when I say good job, I mean, I'll tell you too, Heather and I do a really good job of partnering on things. And then there's things where we still go, wait a second. Okay. We got to figure this out. Like we're clashing on this. We're both trying to do this where we really, so like, do you feel like you guys do a good job keeping lines of communication open to partner together on all this?
I think that we do. I think it's still tough with the two younger ones. I mean, they're just so little and they just want mom, and they're not like doing a lot of like chores or anything like that necessarily. But yeah, he's started to take our older son out with him more, and to go check on the progress. And we're building a house, so they'll go like check on the progress of the house, or he'll take him with him to go to Costco, or that he'll help. He's teaching him how to cook because my husband is a much better cook than I am, which is great for me. If there's even more people in the house that know how to do that,
Dang
that's
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, as our sons get older, he will do more and more things like that with them, to get them out and teach them responsibility and all of that stuff outside of the home.
So man, I don't even know if you know what you just said, how key that is too, though. As he gets older, that natural transition, especially for a young man wanting to lean in, it's a normal thing to be like, mom, mom, mom. And then at some point there is a little bit of a switch, right? Where it's like, ooh, now dad's the cool, like dad's kind of the guy, you know, and you start to, and those go along with all these different developmental changes for our young people. I know I talk to it ad nauseum, but not enough people talk about those developmental changes. You guys are going to see major jump shifts in personality around 7 or 8. You're just going to see it. It's going to happen because there's a new level of understanding unlocked. Their brain is going bananas. And then guess what? You're going to see it again around 12. And then guess what? You're going to see it again around 16. Right? Like we have to understand, and those are going to come with all kinds of different challenges and great things in terms of our relationship, in terms of who they're leaning into parent-wise. And so just us as parents leaning into, okay, hey, this is about the time. So let's start having conversations and let's just pay attention. Like Loudon just turned 8. So Heather and I are very much talking about that, right? Brielle's on the cusp of about, 11, 12. We're just watching. Not in a scared way, just in an excited way. Let's see, because they're going to change and that's normal. So I love that. I want to talk a little bit on the health and fitness side. And so ladies, I know again, Miranda is somebody that I love dearly. I can go for hours here too. So as you guys start to get questions, whether it's on, on the health and fitness side, the entrepreneur side, the relationship side, you please start putting your questions up, just so we have a record of people being ready to rock and roll. But I want to talk a little bit about the health and fitness space. When I say I want to talk about the health and fitness space, you are legitimately like, you're one of the best of the best. I mean, you know your stuff. You've been impacting so many lives for so long. So I can just as easily go to like, hey, Miranda, like I need help on this side. I mean, I could just as easily do that. So as you're helping all these people for so long, what are the most common issues that you're seeing in that? Like, what are some of the most common questions you get? People coming to you, they're looking for advice, they're looking for help. What is the most common thing you're seeing from people?
The questions are all over the place, but 99% of the time, the answer is a lack of consistency. So regardless of what the questions are, people, usually the questions are someone thinking that their body is different than everyone else's body. And all of us do, our bodies are a little bit different. Or they're thinking that their problem is way outside of what everybody else has. Or they're looking for some sort of hack or some sort of shortcut or some sort of secret. And the truth is that there is no secret. Most of us, our bodies function generally the same, men, women, whatever. And if you have had some sort of struggle, it's because of a lack of consistency. And the reason that most people struggle with that almost always comes down to they have an idea of what fitness is supposed to look like. And everybody has a different idea of what that is. But they have an idea of what fitness is supposed to look like. And if I can't do that, if I can't afford it, if I don't have time for it, if I don't have the equipment, if for some reason I have a physical limitation that doesn't allow for it to look like that, then I can't participate or I'm inconsistent. And so I do nothing. And then I do this roller coaster thing. And the truth is that everybody can do something, regardless of how much time you have, regardless of what limitations in, physical limitations you have, or equipment, or where your fitness level is right now. Everybody can do something. And our biggest goal at Street Parking is to show people that and to give them permission to make it look what it needs to look like in your life, in your home, with your schedule, and even the things that you enjoy, but you have to do it consistently. And that comes with both your food and daily movement. And so for us, it's like some of our biggest hashtags that we, use in our community are more than nothing. Like, you can't tell me that a person who does something, even if it looks silly because they're in their pajamas and it's 10 minutes, if they did that every single day for a year, that they'd be in the same place that they were at a year before. They would not. There would be progress. So more than nothing. And then the other one that we've been using a lot lately is simple, not easy. It does not have to be complicated, but it has to be challenging for you. And each one of you guys listening are in a different place with your fitness. So what's challenging for me is different than what's challenging for you. It's different what's challenging to the people next to you on the Zoom call. But when something's challenging and when it's not. And challenging doesn't mean longer. It doesn't mean heavier necessarily. But there are many ways that we can challenge ourselves with both our nutrition and our fitness. And people don't want it to be challenging. What we find is people almost prefer the answer to be that it has to be expensive, complicated, and time consuming, because then they have an automatic out. Right. Well, I can't afford it. I don't have time for it, or this is too complicated. I don't understand it. So it's not my fault that I can't participate in it. Well, as soon as the truth is, it can be simple, short, and with a pair of dumbbells in your house, but you have to be consistent and actually do it. Well, now the ball is completely in your court. And generally that's not the answer people are looking for, but it is the truth.
Isn't that? And hey, by the way, what you just said could be a microcosm for so much. Generally, the answer is not what you're looking for, but it is the truth.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, here's the truth. And it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing. And it's what you said too. A lot of times it's actually really simple. It's just not easy. And that's where we're like, we're kind of bummed out on that, because what you just said on the consistency, what you just said on the, something more than nothing. Hey, when we're talking about our relationships, hey, when we're talking about our finances, hey, when we're talking about our own, education, our own personal growth, everything you just said maps to all of those. Right.
And I'm so lucky to know those things and to have applied them so heavily to fitness, because I do apply that same idea to my son's reading, for example. If I can get him to read one page, that's more than nothing. And I know he just needs consistency. He needs to not go for 2 or 3 weeks without doing anything. It's just if I can get him to do something every day that's turning his mind onto, the letters and the sounds and putting the words together, and it could look different and it can be whatever. And so I am able to apply a lot of that to the other stuff that I do.
That's right. That's what's called a meta skill, is you're understanding how to cross those things over to other areas. And the reality is, so just like reading, and this is, fitness, exercise, it ends up being the same sort of deal. The idea, especially when we're raising our young people, is to make it fun. We don't have to make them, these Pulitzer Prize novel. We don't have to do that when they're 6, when they're 7. We want them to love it. We want them to enjoy it. So we have a good time with it. We don't make it something that results in a test later on. We just make it something that is an enjoyable experience. They start attaching a positive emotion to the time they get to read with mom, or when mom reads to them. They start attaching something positive to that, right? Because that emotion is what is going to drive them later on when they're now making a decision like this is going to be a little bit difficult. So what do they have to tap into? They have to tap into the past experience. They have to tap into the emotion that's attached to the past experience, and they're not going to act or think greater than how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true for all of us. We're not going to show up and act or think greater than how we feel. So how do we control the mindset of, jumping into that? So what you're saying is, I think, even more powerful than you know. And it is tough because we start to use the excuses as looking for ways to check out, or we start to use those shoulds. Should is a really, Hormozy is the one that got me out of saying that. He's like, man, should is a really powerful word. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right, man. I need to drop that, because those shoulds start to cast a shadow in ways that start to intimidate us from moving forward. So when you've got somebody that you're working with from a health and fitness perspective, and they're giving you but I don't have time, but I don't have, which again, they're presenting obstacles to themselves, not realizing that we were talking on the men's call about how everybody's looking for they think they're looking for a specific outcome when they're building something. But then what happens when you get to an outcome? Well, that's just provided you with more opportunity to do more work. So then it just means there's more outcomes, is what we should be saying, right? Doing the work is the point, and we'll get to these various outcomes. So when you're trying to help get somebody like to wrap their mind around it, are you more of the like inspirational go get it, or are you more of the like inviting and trying to give a bridge and find a connection? Like, how do you drive that more? Because you guys have obviously been successful. Are you have been more successful with more like the over the top, or is it more the bridge? Let me help guide you, or are
it's so tough, because one of our like biggest things that we talk about here is that street parking is a program, but it's also heavy on the community side. And we pride ourselves on our community. But one of the things that we've had to say lately is more community, less coddling. And we've talked about in our meetings that we love our members, but love and coddling are not the same thing. Like, truly love someone, we want the best for them, and sometimes that is telling them what they don't want to hear, or pushing them, or so we've been trying to do a better job. Like, even we have a 30,000 person Facebook group, which is just fun. In general, especially when there's like an election year or whatever. The last 4 years,
enjoy going in the comments on that one, do you?
But instead of, if somebody is coming in and they're like, I just can't do this, and they're kind of like wallowing, right?
Yeah.
Which we've all been there. Instead of saying like, oh, like, because we'll see, although there's a lot of them, other members will say like, don't be so hard on yourself. And I've encouraged our coaches to say, don't say that. Say, tomorrow's a new day. Or maybe try this. Or, remember, more than nothing, do something, even if it's 30 air squats at the foot of your bed. And one of the things that I really love in James Clear's books, book Atomic Habits, is he talks about the smoker. And instead of, there's a big difference in saying, somebody who's quitting smoking, I'm trying to quit. If somebody offers you a cigarette, I'm trying to quit, versus I don't smoke.
That's right.
Even if you're on day 2. As soon as you start to identify as that. So encouraging our members, like, identify as somebody who exercises regardless of what it looks like that day. I am someone who exercises daily. And what I need to do is lower the bar on what counts. And if I have to do 5 minutes of burpees right before I go to bed, or, while my child is in the bathtub next to me, we see people do that a lot. And so the way that we lead is we try to lead by example. I would say that's the biggest thing that I've always done as an individual, but then we've tried to bleed into our community, is show, don't tell. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to give you tools to do it. And then I'm going to show members that are similar to you, because I used to compete in CrossFit, and unfortunately in the fitness space, what can happen, and I totally understand it. Someone who's very out of shape and who has maybe never found consistency in their life, they're going to look at me and be like, she doesn't understand me. Like, she doesn't understand my struggles. And so what we try to do in our community is highlight people that are from all different walks of life, different fitness levels, people who have different lifestyles and beliefs and everything. And we'll say, but this person, look at this lady, she's in her living room and her little kids running around, and well, that lady kind of looks like me, and that apartment kind of looks like mine, and she's still doing it, and her kid's screaming while she's doing her burpees, or oh man, that mom did it during her kid's soccer practice, or this or that. And so giving as many different examples of people who are overcoming the same obstacles, trying to lead. So I guess maybe more inspiration than like, we're definitely not over here like David Gogginsing people.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. 100%. But I love the intentionality behind that too, because you are building a bridge with that. You're showing what's possible. And a lot of times the excuses are exactly what you said earlier. We think, oh, it's possible for her. It's not possible for me because, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. That because right there. Cool. Same thing right there. That's also Wits because that's weird, but she's doing it. Right. And that's also friends because, but friends doing it. Right. So you're being intentional about that bridge, not in a beating you over the head way, in a should, but you could, vastly different.
Well, we're excuse generators. We will make all of the excuses. When you hear, all you have to do is listen to your child, make all the excuses of why they don't want to do something. And you're all in, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me too. But when we can flip it around and make all of the excuses of why I'm going to, I'm like, okay, I can do all the negative and I can also do all of the positive.
Right.
And I was just telling someone this morning, based on my footwear is what I'm doing for the day. So that's immediately what I put on my feet in the morning, because it's a reminder for me as the mom, as the entrepreneur, that's still going to happen. Fitness is still going to happen based upon whatever shoe I have. It's either running or lifting or whatever. So
good.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's something that we say a lot too, is it's like, just put your shoes on.
That's right.
Look out, go in the garage or go in your space that you normally do your fitness and just put your shoes on. And then what? I don't know, like warm up a little bit. You can quit at any point, but just like, usually it's those first few steps to get the ball rolling. And then you're like, well,
I'm already here.
Yeah, I might as well just do it.
Might as well just do it. Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. Let's get some of these ladies in here. Fran, how are you, young lady?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Miranda. This has been wonderful. I have a couple of things written down and there's been aha moments. But I do have a question for you. I identified very strongly when you said you had to give up or change your day-to-day. So I'm a full-time working mom, and I appreciate going to work because I said it's easier to go to work. People just say what I do and there's no question, and it's just so much easier. There's no pushback. That's a great idea, and we move on. Staying home with the children has been much more difficult at times because find myself doing a lot of back and forth, chit-chatting about something very simple. I'm like, wow, this wouldn't happen at work. And it does get easier. My children are 8 and 10, and it just comes, the verbiage and the conversations are a lot more intelligent and easier. So it does get easier to connect with them. But my question for you is, how do you still get that dopamine hit when besides working out? Because for me, that dopamine hit does come at work, and I find it very difficult to get like that real accomplished conversation or feeling at the end of the day when I'm not there. So what do you do to get that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I'm still working on for sure. The workouts help me a lot as far as that goes, because it's a huge thing for me. But I've even looked into doing things like, I've been trying to learn how to play the piano. And just something where we got like this, and I don't do it as often as I would like, but I was telling my husband just the other day, actually, and I think this is what you're asking, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I said, on the days when I don't do any sort of work or have any sort of work calls, or even something like this is great, because I'm talking to other adults and we're having civilized conversations. Or on days where I don't really do that so much, I feel dumber. Like I feel like not, and it's not that what I'm doing with my children isn't super challenging, because it is, and it is a mental challenge, but just in a different way. So
Yeah.
is that kind of what you're asking? Like, how do you?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I read, and even if it's just audiobooks while I'm like walking our dog or taking a bath in the evening, and then I try to take notes on some of that stuff and have a conversation with my husband about it, or write about it. I have a newsletter that I do, and sometimes I'll do that like in the evening times or at nighttime. But I would be lying to you if I said that I've figured out a way to do it every day, aside from working out.
Yeah,
Great.
It's a powerful question though, Fran, and that's a lot of self-awareness on that too, because we talk obviously in month 2 specifically, we talk about the time management. When we use in month 2, we use actually Atomic Habits is the recommended book for month 2, and we're talking about time management, but we're also talking about energy management, right? And that's a part of it too. What is the activity that is life-giving versus the activity that is life-set? I know I'm going to get to spend, I know I spent 2 hours with the men earlier today on that. I come off those calls and I'm just on top of the world. And then I went right into this here too. I come off this, I'm on top. So like, I know these are energy giving tasks. And so as I'm looking at the day, the time management is great, but the energy management matters. And so if I've got a day where all of the tasks are really kind of energy suckers, that's where it's, I mean, at least on my side, where it's like, man, how do I put something in there that is an energy giver? Maybe it is a book, maybe it is a specific podcast I wanted to listen to, or maybe it is creating, it's creating something for another idea I have of something to give to the campuses, or whatever that looks like. What is that energy giving sort of deal? It's important to pay attention to that, because if we have too many days in a row where we don't have that, something on the creative side, what happens is we actually start getting addicted to the feeling of a life that we don't even really like. And we can start getting addicted to that too, and just calling that normal. And we're getting further down the path where we don't want to necessarily go, because then change is just going to be even harder there. We can get addicted to that because then it just starts to feel normal. You wake up and you're like, what is it? It feels normal to grab my, Frappuccino, and then it feels normal to just go straight to my phone. It feels normal to not talk to my husband right now, and it feels normal to, we can get into those patterns too. So I love that you're paying attention to that. Yeah, it's really good. Good question, Fran. I like it. Let's get Mel in here. Mel and the young hero. Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
I
Looking good.
Like Mel. Well, first I wanted to say I didn't know who the call was with today, and I was like, gosh, I don't recognize that name. And then when you started talking, I seen a video a few years back when you were pregnant, I think with your second, and you did like an Instagram video working out, and I think it was your second, maybe it was your first, but it was so inspiring. And I was like, oh, I know now. And so I loved that. And then my question was, I also started homeschooling this year, and I have 5 littles.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the is 9, and she's my youngest at 4. You.
It's awesome.
And I was talking with Whitney this morning. I'm just struggling creating that consistency, prioritizing my workout, because I'm like, oh, I don't have 30 minutes. Like, we need to get the homeschool things off the list. And hey, Tilly, can you just get? And I was like, how do you do you prioritize certain things when your kids are sleeping and other things when they're awake? Like, do you prioritize working out in front of them? And what things do you prioritize when they're like sleeping in the morning?
Yeah, so there's going to be a window. I really value them seeing us work out. Not every day. Sometimes I'll be honest, I'll be like, listen, I just want to go into, because our garage is where our gym setup is. I'll say, I just want to go in there by myself and put in my headphones. Like, I need that moment alone right now. But a lot of times we like them being around us when we're working out, because when we're talking about teaching our children, they do what they see, not what we say, right? Or whatever the saying is. And so for our boys, since we've always worked out at home and we've always worked out in front of them, it is so normal to them that their minds are going to be blown when they realize that not everybody's parents do that, because they haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
The first time they saw a garage that wasn't completely converted into a gym, they were confused. And so for us, it's seeing that we have fun, that we push ourselves to the point where we're really uncomfortable. Like I remember like a couple of weeks ago, I was telling my 6-year-old a workout that I had to do that we had to film. He was like, "Oh, Mom, you're going to get wrecked." And it's just so funny. It's so normal to them.
Yep.
And so don't be afraid to work in front of them. Now, I will say, especially with 5, that there will be a period where you are going to be interrupted every 30 seconds. That will get, and I've seen this not just from my own experience, but because we have such a large community, most of which have little kids, it will become less and less. The older ones will start to, and the younger ones will start to want to do it with you. They will start to mimic you. And I would, if I were you, think of that as teaching them. Like that is homeschool. And that's such an important lesson for them. And then when they see that you do it and they see that you prioritize it and they see that you enjoy it or that you're uncomfortable and you overcome these, difficult things in your workout, they're learning so much by watching that. So don't think of it as like me time. If they're with you, think of it as like they are learning. And so I would try to reframe that a little bit, but go into it with very low expectations of how hard you're going to be able to push for the first little while until they're used to it. Now our sons, other than the one who's almost 2, if we tell them, hey, like, I'm going to be working out, this is how long it's going to take. You can be in here with me, but just like, make sure to give me my space. They completely honor it. And they're only 6 and 4. And our 6-year-old is like little Spider-Man, like climbing all over the, pull-up rig and everything. And our 4-year-old will just play and talk to us, and they do so well with it now. But just give yourself that time window. It will pay off. Let it like be really difficult for a while and let them interrupt you and everything for a while. It will pay off and they will get used to it. And it will get to a point where they're either trying to join you or they're just hanging out and they'll let you do it.
Yeah, I guess that's helpful. Like the nugget, I guess for me is like, I usually will just say exit right now because we need to work on homeschool. And I just never really thought about it the way that you're describing. And that is important. So
That's
yeah.
it.
And they literally they'll count my reps. I'll tell them, all right, Mama's got 10 more. Can you count for me? And they'll count. And they'll come in, they'll be like, how many rounds is it today? Or what are you doing? You can teach them body parts. Like you can be like, Mama's doing this movement and this is like for my legs and this muscle's called the hamstring. And this is, there's so much that you can teach them that like goes with all of that. But and this is like a personal bias of mine, I don't think that there is a subject that besides maybe, your belief in God or a higher power, whatever that is, there is not a subject that is more important than how to take care of yourself physically. Like I would rather have my children leave my home with a lower reading ability and all of that, but I know how to feed and myself and take care of my physical body. And I can leave the house knowing that it's invaluable, so but that's maybe a personal bias. I'll let Matt add his 2 cents to that.
I say that often. My body is the vehicle that drives everything that I do in my life. And I can tell when I'm on my A game with fitness, how everything else seems to be in place. And as soon as I start to let things go, I see it. I see it as a mom. I see it in my marriage. I see it in my business. And being a mom of adult children that watched me work out for years and years and years, I know it's sometimes hard right now in this stage, Melissa, when you have all these littles, it's hard to even imagine them being that old, but it does make an impact on them. And teaching them, I never watched my mom work out. My mom never worked out, that wasn't an influence at all from her, but my children have gotten to see that. And just like you said, the value of what a healthy body looks like going into the next season.
That's it. It is unavoidably a meta skill because it is unavoidably attached to us for the rest of our lives. Our health matters. And by the way, their mental health, which is what Jason and I were talking about earlier today, their mental health, well, the precursor for their mental health is their physical health.
Mm.
It just is, right? So if we're really concerned about that, that becomes not just one of that becomes one of the primary things, to really establish at home. I mean, there's no good way around that. It's just the reality. So making it the normal and front loading, what you guys are talking about, the front loading, I want you to think, Mel, and everybody here, like think compound interest, right? If you were investing and I gave you the opportunity to invest for your kids $1 a day, and you're just going to do $1 a day. And then when they get to 50, you're going to put in, $500 a day for the next 5 years, right? Or you could do $500 a day right now for the next 5 years. And then it's only going to be $1 a day afterwards. Well, if you look at compound interest, that's second option where you front load all of that. Because now over time, right, they're going to have way more money than if you wait to the end. So many of the habits for our kid, yes, it's hard. Yes, you've got to be intentional. Yes, it feels like it gets in the way, like, yeah, Con, what you said, like it gets in the way of your me time, right? When you front load that for those first 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you have just set them up foundationally forever.
The other thing that you get to do
But man,
that I think is so important is you get to frame why people exercise in the way that you talk about it. Especially, I don't have daughters, and so I imagine that this is even more important when it comes to little girls than boys. But you get to frame the way that you talk about exercise and what you eat when they're little, and you explain why you do it and what it's for. I be really conscious and aware of that and the language around it. So I know when we talk to our kids, it's like, hey, we exercise so that we can be healthy, so we can be around for as long as possible, so we can play with you, so we can be strong, so we can be, it's good for our minds, it's good for our energy, it's good for our sleep. Like we tell them all this stuff. Because you could also say like, oh, mama's trying to lose weight, or mama's trying to, mama wants to, whatever people say. Because I have a memory, actually, but it's so funny you talk about your mom. I have a memory of my mom when I was 12 years old. She doesn't remember this at all. And I'm almost 42. When she weighed herself on the scale and she was like, oh, and I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, I weigh 140 pounds. And I'm just like, and that has stuck with me my whole life. And my mom, she wasn't really somebody who talked about dieting or losing weight. It was just that one comment, one time. And so as little girls, especially, they will get to a point, and little boys too, but I would think little girls more, they will get to a point where they're hearing that exercise is some sort of punishment, or that you should do it if you want to look a certain way. But if we can establish when they're young that that's not what it's for, it's for mental health, it's for, because I want to be able to go do whatever I want to go do and have the physical ability to go do that. It's good for me. It's fun. I enjoy it. This is part of what my family does. It feels good. I like it. Before they get to the side of, oh, punish yourself, or this is like, you have to earn your food or whatever. We get to frame that for our children, especially those of you that are working out in front of them and homeschooling, and they're watching them. They're watching you work out and how you talk about it and what your attitude is toward it and everything. They can learn so much.
So important. That's so important to put that positive spin on it. I'll just super quick. I'm so sorry, because Chris, I know you have a great, but super quick aside, because it matters. So Remy Adeleke came on earlier today with the men. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's in the movies now and is a consultant, and he's got this really cool story. But when I was diving into getting ready for stuff, because I hadn't actually spoken to Remy yet. So when I was diving in, one of the things that I saw was his mom, who raised him as a single mom. His dad died before he was 5. He was like 5 years old. So mom raised him, essentially single mom. So she's 71 right now. And he had mentioned her on Instagram. So I went over and clicked. She's got 100,000 followers on Instagram, right? And she's 71 out. Yeah, Pauline. So she's crushing it, right? Like, she's so rad. And so I'm looking at her last night. I'm on Instagram, and my kids are like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" And then we kind of joked with my mom, who was there. She's a little older than my mom, but my mom's like, "Oh, geez, she's she's in way better shape, right?" But one of the things my kids recognized later too, they just went, "Man, and that lady just seemed like she just had so much more energy. She almost seemed happy." And not that Gma is not not happy, because my mom is a very happy person too, but she's like, she just has a different energy. I'm like, yeah, that's part of that, is the physical health. That's what it is, right? So you get to put that positive spin on it, man, and changes everything. Again, you're going to act, and you're going to show up and act and think partially based on how you feel. It's really good. Chris.
I'm also just trying to like help my sons see how strong and powerful a woman can be. They watch me work out. And so their idea of like,
yes,
what women do, I guess is different to them.
yes. That's so powerful, man. So powerful. All right, Chris, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. And actually, I would agree on the working out thing with the kids. Like, it's something that we've always done, my husband and I, and the kids love working out with us. They will sometimes just like pick up a weight, and they're like, doing something. Even our 4-year-old is like, wow, look how strong I am today. And it's just so much a part of our life that nobody, really feels like it's like, oh, I have to go work out today, right? It's like a chore. It's just like, of course, this is what we did today. So I would totally agree on that part, 100%, for sure. And then as they grow up, like my daughter and I go to a Monday night yoga class together, and it's our like special, she just turned 14, and it's our like special moments together, and it's really cool. So do it in front of them. It's perfect. Great. But I did have a question on balancing, like I have my schedule set, and I have like this time for, work outside of the home, and this time for, I'm a nurse, so I'm kind of all over the place in schedule anyways. But, like this time for outside of the homework, and then this time for homeschooling, and this time for like farm chores, and this time, but I always end up feeling guilty on each one of those things. Like I've never given enough time or attention to any one of those things. And so I'm wondering how you find that balance to not carry that guilt around all the time of like I love all the things that I do, and I want to do all of those things, but I never feel like I give enough of myself to any of those things. At the same time, feeling like I give way too much to and that guilt. So any advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, what's your name?
My name's Chris.
Chris, I would say that I agree with you. It's still something that I'm struggling with, because I am like an all or nothing person. Like if I'm going to do something, I want to do it, and I want to do it 100%. And I want to do the best that I possibly can at it. And, before we had children, I would work, even when I was pregnant with our first, like I was working till like 2 a.m. and it wasn't like, I loved it. I was just in it, and I that's who I am completely as a person, which has brought me a ton of success, but it's very difficult when you care a lot about more than one thing. It can become super challenging. So I am still 100% there with you. I think that it's something that we just need to, and this is just my personal opinion now, and I'll let Matt and they might have advice for this better than I do. But I'm trying to reframe my brain in that way of, again, like, and I've talked to Jason about this too, because Kalipa and I are good friends. When I'm in one thing, trying to be, and I'm not successful at this yet. So this is like advice that I'm giving myself while I'm talking to you. Trying to be 100% there with that thing. And my 100% is not going to be time the way that it used to be, where I'm giving it, I can give as much time to each thing, but when I'm in it, I am in it. So if I am working, I try to take myself, I have a home office, but I don't often work there because my kids are also there. So I will take myself out of that environment and go somewhere else, whether it's here, which is our street parking office, or even just to a coffee shop. I'll go and completely try to shut out everything else. When I'm with my children, when I'm homeschooling them, I try to be completely there and not checking like emails or, messages on my phone or thinking about work, which is tough for me to do. And it's something that I'm still really trying to get better at. But right now, because I'm not willing to give up any of it, right? I'm not willing to say, well, I'm just going to send my kids to school and go back to work because I want to be 100% here. I'm not willing to say, I'm going to completely step away from my business and only be with my kids because I see our business as one of our children, honestly. And I'm so passionate I also think that it's good for them to see me do something that I care so much about, that it brings good into the world also. So I'm just trying to be 100% in it when I'm in it. And I don't know if that helps you at all. I'm still trying to find balance of the guilt too, of like, but if I had more time, I could be doing such a better job in all of the different things.
Yeah.
And this is, again, take this perspective for what it's worth too. I always look at balance on something like this. I look at it differently. I look at the balance as being between here and here for pretty much everything, right? And so if we are type A personality, and so again, I know we're talking men, women, but I'm right there with you, where it's like, I want, if I'm going to do something, guess what? Going to be the best at it forever. Like, and I've got to get as close to perfect as I can on all, like, it's just, I'm wired the same way. But I had to stop too and go back and go, okay, so the words that you're using, the way you're framing it, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Who defines that? What does that mean? What is enough? What does enough look like? And I'm not saying this helps everybody, but this is what helped me, is goes, well, what does enough look like? What does enough look like as a husband, as a dad, as an educator, as an entrepreneur in this arena and in this arena? I actually needed to start to define what enough is and what kind of over and above and ideal. And so then it just gave me a more clear definition. So some days it was like, you know what? I didn't get to my ideal today, but I still did enough. And so maybe now I can start to, maybe tomorrow, I'm just going to kind of make sure I do enough over here, and I'll spend a little more time here pushing this one a little, right? So it's like, instead of trying to juggle all these things, it's more like the balls are all there and I'm going forward and I'm like, right? Like, I'm just kind of doing it that way. Defining it is really what helped me realize, like, I'm actually kind of getting a lot of this stuff done. So I don't know if that'll be helpful or not, but
Yeah, thanks.
I like the word harmony instead of balance. That really helps me when I'm juggling the balls. Okay, what needs more of this, my attention, and what is gonna, like Matt said, what is enough is defined by us, right? So maybe I need to give more right now with inside of my coaching, and the floors are just going to be dirty in my house, and I'm going to be okay with that, because at the end of the day, being the coach that I wanted to be and the leader that I wanted to be is more important than the floors. I found the harmony in my day with that. So that's kind of how I reframe as harmony instead of balance, because I feel like we're always out of balance with all of the things that we get to do as moms.
Yeah, really good. Really good. And Miranda, are you good? We got another one on there too. I want to make sure you're awesome. Let's get Noelle in here. Boom and boom. There we go. How you doing, young lady?
Hi. First, I wanted to say thank you for bringing Miranda on. I have been looking up to you for the last 10 years as an affiliate owner, and many of our members do street parking along with our gym. And just as a mom and business owner, you're like everything I want to be. So I have a couple questions for you.
Awesome.
So ultimately, you're living the life that I want. So you said that you and your husband own the business together, correct?
Yeah.
So my husband and I own our affiliate together, and we want up to 4 children. We've got 1 right now. And I was just wondering, one thing that we're trying to harmonize is how we balance our roles, tasks, time blocking. We want to homeschool right now. Our daughter is not in daycare. So I'm just curious, like, when you say that you kind of leave to go to your office, who's watching the kids? And kind of what is your role? What's your husband's role? And how do you guys manage everything together?
Yeah, that's a really good question. How long have you had your affiliate with your husband?
We are going on 7 years.
Okay, so you guys have been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
How old is your child?
She'll be a year this weekend.
Okay, so the baby's still pretty newish, and so you guys are still figuring it out. we did everything wrong that you could possibly do, because when we started street parking, moved in together, and found out that I was pregnant with our first. So we weren't married. This was all in like a 2-week window. We started the business, moved in together with his mom, by the way, and found out that we were pregnant. And then the business ended up being way bigger than we initially had expected. He had a job, I had a job. This was like going to be like a side, like hustle, hobby thing so that we could pay our utility bills. And it took off. I'm pregnant. We had only been dating and knew each other for like a year. His mom's living there. I just met her. And so we were just like literally chasing a runaway train together while I'm like carrying this baby in my belly. And it was just, so every possible mistake that you can make, we've made it. So right now I've been able to, when I come to the office, his mom still, she moved up here. We live in Washington now, and she moved up here with us, and she helps us a lot with our children. And then we have some other nannies that will step in here and there, because there's 3 of them now. And we have a financial situation where we can do that, and it's great. But for the first like 6 years of the business, we were both just working all the time. Neither one of us are great at scheduling. Neither one of us are great at, well, he's better at delegating than I am. We probably weren't doing enough to schedule in and prioritize our relationship and our family stuff. And it was all business and just completely unorganized. And so we've gotten to a point now, though, where when you get to having 3 or 4 children and they're of age where you're going to homeschool them, my husband is more now in the day-to-day at our office. And I am, like I mentioned, what's Miranda? Where is she most valuable in the business? So for you, it might be back-end stuff, or it might be coaching, or it might be coaching development, or it might be marketing, whatever it is that's like, this is what Chris crushes for our business. Hold on to that. And what you enjoy the most, I would say, because that maybe those 2 things don't always go together, but usually I would say they do. Once, you start having more children, and then just make sure you have the people in place, whether it's your husband or a manager or whatever, for the rest of the stuff, but try to get them in place before all the children are there and before you're trying to homeschool, because that stuff takes time, and so just plan for it and prepare for it. And the cool thing with gym ownership is that it is pretty flexible, and it's a very child-friendly environment. It's not like you're like going into like an accounting office or something like that. You know what I mean? And so that's what I would say is plan for it further in advance than it all kind of happened to us. And just know that you eventually are going to probably have to do less than I imagine that you're doing right now. Find what it is that you're really good at, and then find people who can do what you do otherwise, and start to develop them now before you have 3 or 4 children.
That's really helpful. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good question. Hey, Noah, are you in North Carolina too?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. Dude, you and Cody got to come by the farm, man. You guys ever come out towards Asheville, man? Come over to the farm.
You're in Asheville?
We're right outside of Asheville. We're not far from you
I'm
guys.
there.
Yeah.
Give me the address.
Dude, we're only 2. Yeah, shoot me a message on Workplace. Like, we're only a couple hours away from you guys, man. So come on out, bring the baby. Like, you guys come out. You guys are not far. It's literally a 2-hour drive on the dot. We were just in Charlotte not last weekend, but the weekend before last for a gymnastics meet. And I thought
Love it.
So yeah, dude.
Yeah, we were just up there skiing this weekend.
Gosh, man, we're right outside that. We're like 30 minutes outside Asheville towards like Brevard, if you know where that's.
Okay.
So yeah. So shoot me a message, man. You guys come by the farm anytime.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, dang right. So good. Good question too. You're awesome.
Thank you.
No, you're awesome, man. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for just the continued conversation too. So where, I want to do want to make sure, because this still goes out, the podcast has grown exponentially, and it's beyond what I feel like we deserve. But I'm so grateful for it. So I want to make sure we go, hey, where do we find you and all that kind of good stuff. But the more important, especially as friends, like how do we support you? How do we support you? How do we support, street parking? How do we support Julia? How do we support the family? Like, how do we as an organization support you best?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, your personal support is always helpful when I'm like panicking about something. But to be honest, it feels so, for me as an individual, like just siloed person, not street parking, family, anything, just as a woman, and I guess as a mother, it does feel so good to me that you have these groups and that these women that have similar hopes and dreams and beliefs are finding each other, and we are all strengthening one another, because it can feel very isolating when you're like, I feel like I'm the only person who carries this exact belief system, or I don't know anybody else who gets it, or I don't know anybody else who thinks like me. So the more that, I mean, just you doing this is so awesome and feels good to me to know that these women are talking to each other and that you guys are all growing together. It's so great. I mean, you can, if you're interested in the workout program, you can go to streetparking.com. And actually, Matt, I would be happy to give a free month to any of the women that want to try it. If you want to do that, it's up to you. All of the workouts can be done with a pair of dumbbells in your living room if necessary. We have workouts that if you have access to more stuff, it's all there. But originally it was designed for people with minimum time, space, and equipment. So that's originally where the program came from. And we have a very strong community of people who encourage each other. And then, yeah, I mean, just keep crushing it. Your content is amazing. All the stuff that you put out for, I mean, I participate in the Dragon Slayer program and the Educating Young Heroes stuff. I'm going through all of it myself. So just keep providing all of that, because it's all helping me. I know fitness. I can talk about fitness and nutrition all day long, but I'm still learning so much when it comes to parenting and educating my children and all of that. So,
but you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing, and you're leading so well. So thank you for that. Thank you for those words. Thanks for coming back in and hanging out with us too. And hopefully you'll be down to do it again. And I mean, if you think of other things too, man, whatever we can do as an organization to support, say the word. It's a done deal. When I get out there in the West Coast, get back out there, and gonna get out there to the Washington side. We got a great affiliate opening out there too. So when I get out there on the West Coast, I will definitely let you guys know.
Okay, cool.
Dang right. Thank you, my friend.